Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope that you're doing well. I'm doing really good in my little corner of the world. Hope the same for you and your families. It is a beautiful day outside. It's been a little warm where I live. It seems like summer has kind of come back a little. I think you can see that I've gotten some sun in the last couple days. I've been spending some time out by the pool because it's getting warm again to use the pool. So I've been spending some time outside in the afternoons. I think you can see that in my face. But I'm doing well. I'm really excited about the week ahead. So I hope that you're excited too. I'm really grateful that we get to spend this time together and be able to, as always, kind of share in the fellowship of data science. So hope that you're well, hope you're healthy, and hope that you're ready to take on the week for whatever is to come. So for those of you that are joining us for the first time, please let me know your city, state, country, province. We always ask people to introduce themselves in that way. That way, we can get to know a little bit about you. It's an easy way for you to participate. And it also adds to the professional nature that we like to keep on our chat here. So that reminds me that I do want to add that as one of my pinned comments to my Instagram. So give me just a second here. I want to add that to Instagram. All right, so it looks like we should be ready to go. But yeah, so today is a whole new week. Really, it's always, for me, I know a lot of people don't like Mondays, or for me, Mondays bring a little bit of optimism, right? So we got to be optimistic about the good stuff that's ahead, the good stuff that's coming our way, right? Whether you're a student or a professional or looking for a job or whatever the case may be. Got to be optimistic. So again, please, I ask people to do their city, state, country, province. Go ahead and add that into the chat. While you guys fill up my chat, I always like to do an opening note where I try to kind of maybe just kind of set the tone for our conversation and just kind of help guide all of us into what we're gonna, just to kind of guide us all into like a data science mentality. Gosh, I can't talk today. So start filling up my chat with your city, state, province. Really appreciate it. For today's opening note, I just kind of wanted to share some of the items that I had taken care of this week. In addition to the great stream that we ran yesterday around neural networks, I think a lot of people found that beneficial. I always take care of my own personal items on the weekend. And this weekend was really a lot about catching up. I caught up with my parents. I caught up with the parents twice, actually. I caught up with an old friend. I caught up with an old mentor of mine who I hadn't spoken with since February or so. So it's kind of been a while. And really just kind of trying to keep some of those connections. Oh, also this morning I caught up with some of my ex-colleagues, from all around the world. And really just trying to keep up with relationships, keep up with other professional contacts and things along those lines. And that's not something I'm always great at. I'm not always great at maintaining those relationships, but the older I get, the more value I find in them. So I was doing that this weekend, and it's really good to kind of not just keep up with those relationships for the business side of things, for the different perspectives that they can give you, but also because it's good for the soul, it's good for your communication, it's good just for your own outlook on life, right? Because the reality is that everybody goes through ups, everybody goes through downs, right? That's just the ebb and flow of life. And sometimes it's good to share in those. It's good to share your victories. It's good to share your defeats. As much as you want of that. But it's important to maintain those human connections and to reach out to people and say, hey, how are you? How's your job search going? I'm doing well. I'm doing this on my end. What are you up to on your end? So that's something that I really invested a lot of time in this week. And again, with my parents, with my friend, with my colleagues, with my mentor. My mentor is a good guy. As many of you know, I'm not 100% a champion of mentorships, right? But this particular mentor I've known for a while. We've known each other for, 10 plus years now. We're really not in the same fields, but he has helped me a lot. So I think not being in the same field helps us maintain, or at least helps me maintain that relationship, vis-a-vis why I don't like mentorships. So it's always good to get those perspectives, that come with age, that come with experience, that come with working in other industries, because I do have some my mentor's a very experienced guy. So it's really good to be able to get that perspective. So if there are people in your life that you haven't caught up with in a while, that you haven't kept up with, I would really encourage you to do that, because I really do see a lot of value in doing that. Maybe you're not doing it frequently. Maybe you're just setting aside a weekend every month, every 2 months or whatnot. But, it's something I would encourage all of you to keep up with, because it's really important. I'm tempted to say it's important later on in life, but really it's important in all stages of your life, right? So something for you guys to keep in mind, but it's something that I invested time in this weekend. And we'll see where that goes. But really appreciate all of you being here, because in a way, all of us are also forming a connection, right? I really appreciate the community here. So always good to maintain that. And I forgot to mention, tracksuit season is still back here. It was a little cold this morning, so I'm using tracksuits in the morning, and then I switched to my to go swimming in the afternoons. I might go swimming right after this stream. Who knows? I got to see what my email inbox brings later. But yeah, let's start looking at the chats. I'm already seeing people in the chat, so thank you so much for that. Again, if you're just joining us, please let us know your city, state, province, country. Quick way for you to introduce yourself and start forming some of those connections. Rex, our good friend Rex, good morning from NYC. Rex, let us know how you're doing out there. I know you're such a consistent supporter, really appreciate you. But let us know how you're doing. Rex, would love to get your opinions on yesterday's session. Maybe you'd like to share your view on yesterday's session with some of the people here. I'm really interested in collecting some feedback on that, because I have a lot of questions after yesterday's session. So if you want to, give me some feedback, I'd appreciate that. Yassine, our good friend Yassine. Hey, Yassine, same question to you, and also to Fatima. I see Fatima in the stream. I would love your feedback on yesterday's session. Maybe we'll spend about 5 minutes talking about that. But yeah, Yassine, welcome. Hope you're doing well. And if you want, give me some feedback on yesterday's session, I'd really appreciate it. Pavan checking in from Bangalore, India. Nice, Pavan. Welcome. Pavan, I'm tempted to say this is your first time here. If it is, welcome. Glad to see you here. Joseph, our good friend Joseph says, hello, Dennis. Glad to be back. Area around me severely affected by the hurricane. Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that. I hope you're okay. You and your family are okay, Joseph. For those of you that don't know, here in the US, we had a massive hurricane over the weekend, or I guess starting late last week. Unfortunately, I haven't kept up a lot with that news. So Joseph, if you want to share more on that, but it was a very serious hurricane, affected a lot of the United States, starting from Florida, and I believe all the way up to Tennessee, maybe a little bit more north of that. Very, very serious storm. So Joseph, hope that you're doing well. Hope that you're okay. Again, I'm not 100% versed on that. So if you wanted to share more in the chat for the benefit of the other people, Joseph, please do that. Fatima, our friend from Meekness, says, hey, sir. Hey, Fatima, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well out there. Let us know how your classes are going, Fatima. It's probably too early for midterm exams, right? Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, I also caught up with my nephew. I always speak with my nephew on Sundays. So I caught up with a lot of people this weekend. Yeah, but my nephew and I always talk on Sundays. Try to give him a variety of advice. Whether he listens or not, who knows, right? You can't help with that. But I try to give the best advice I can to my nephew. Prashant, welcome to the chat. Prashant joining us on Twitch. Woohoo! Growing that Twitch presence, guys. Pretty soon I'll be approaching 100 followers on Twitch, which is amazing. Amazing. I do like 0 promos or any sort of effort over my Twitch profile looks horrendous. If anybody out there is a Twitch profile expert and wants to help me out, let me know. But my Twitch profile is horrible and people still join. No man, please introduce yourself. We always ask people to introduce ourselves with city, state, province, country, please. Rex doing great hosting duties over there. Thank you, Rex. Rex says, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Pavan says, yes, it's their first time. Well, welcome, Pavan. Glad to have you here. I'm still growing on Instagram, still growing on YouTube. I'll be at 30,000 followers on YouTube. Why? Why do you guys follow me? I have no idea, but it's just amazing, the growth there. Okay, yeah, Rex, thank you so much for the feedback. Again, if you were in yesterday's session, like Fatima or Yassine, if you guys want to give me feedback on yesterday's session, I appreciate it. Manoj, welcome. Manoj, same goes for you if you want to give me feedback on yesterday's session. I kind of have a lot of questions after yesterday's session, so I'd appreciate that. Manoj says, good morning, Sir Anal. Manoj from Bangalore, India. Manoj, always welcome, my friend. Such a great supporter. Thank you. Again, if any feedback from yesterday, Manoj, let me know. So let me read this one here, Rex. Yesterday's session was quite educational, interactive, and awesome. Made me realize I need to review my foundational knowledge on neural network. I'll definitely come back to yesterday's video to get the important points I missed. Yeah, okay, thank you, Rex. Appreciate that feedback. Rex, you're hitting on a lot of the reasons why I was asking. Because I was a little surprised by the, and by the way, everybody, I don't mean this in a negative way, but I was surprised at the level of knowledge of neural networks. There clearly does need to be more foundational work done there. It actually kind of made me change my script yesterday a little bit, in the sense that I was probably explaining more things than I thought I would have, or that I had planned to, I should say. Because I really wanted to focus more on the coding differences between the two frameworks, but obviously a lot of the time was also spent just talking about neural networks in general, like in an agnostic way of however you were coding them, right? So yeah, Rex, I got that sense too, that there are still a lot of not misunderstandings, but there still needs to be a lot more foundational work done on the overall education of neural networks. Another thing this brings up is, obviously people in the chat yesterday had heard of neural networks, right? And I'm assuming that some non-zero number of those people had bought a course or taken some Coursera or some other stuff or whatever, right? So if I extend my thoughts out, does that mean that there is very, very poor neural network content out there, right? Because people knew about neural networks, they just weren't very deep about them. So is it just like does that prove what I have always thought about the idiot influencers, who just put out trash, right? They put out trash and they say it's about neural networks, and it's really just a trashy course or a trashy tutorial, right? So yeah, let me know if that's resonating with any of you, right? Like maybe some of you have bought a neural networks course that you thought would prepare you, but wasn't great, right? So I want to keep on the same theme, but Joseph, I'm going to come back to this. Yassine says, I personally like the session. What I like the most is the fact that we do it together along the way, and that it's not already there in the guidance and explanation every step we do. Okay, thank you, Yassine. Appreciate that. Yeah, and it's that guidance and those steps that kind of surprised me because I needed to go slower than I had anticipated. Nothing wrong with that, right? And I like, and like I told you guys, I like doing things, like spontaneous. So, I realize that comes with the territory. So not a complaint on my part, but it was much more step by step than I had anticipated it would be. So maybe it just means that, the stuff that's out there is truly trashy, right? That, the stuff out there, the expert courses is really just junk, right? So that's a possibility. I'm sure there's other possibilities, but something to think about. Yes, I think Fatima, you are also there. So if you have any feedback, but yeah, but thanks to Yassine and Rex for sharing those views. I appreciate them. Okay, so Joseph says, yes, the storm affected Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, East Tennessee, and Western North Carolina. So many cities experienced major flooding, and some cities have been destroyed, unfortunately. Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. I hadn't heard about entire cities being wiped out like that. But yeah, it does seem like there were some deaths along the way. So I really hope that everybody's okay and that your family's okay, Joseph. My sister lives in North Carolina. She lives in the greater Raleigh area, but I believe Raleigh is eastern North Carolina. Maybe Joseph, you can correct me or somebody else. But my sister's in North Carolina, and I asked her, and she said that no, it completely missed her. But I think that's because she's in eastern North Carolina. I've only been there a couple times, so I think that's where Raleigh is. But maybe Joseph can correct me. I think the name is Yasha. Yasha, we always ask people to introduce themselves. Please check the pinned comment before I answer any questions, please. Joseph says, that's right, Dennis. Yeah, okay. I thought Raleigh was over there. Yeah, because, okay, I forgot to add her to the list, but I also caught up with my sister and my brother-in-law yesterday. I caught up with so many people. I'm forgetting to tell you how many people. But I caught up with my sister, and she said that the storm completely missed them because they're in Raleigh, not like what's West Carolina, like Greensboro, I think, right? Greensboro, North Carolina, or is it Greensville? Right, that's more on the western side of North Carolina. Okay, Fatima says, the session included practical examples demonstrating both framework capabilities and building neural networks, which has helped solidify the theoretical comparisons. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so Fatima, it sounds like maybe you knew a little bit more about neural networks than most people coming into it, which is great. The session was very interesting and incredibly helpful. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I think we covered a lot of topics. I still got to poke fun of PyTorch. I made a whole video called PyTorch Sucks, and I'm gonna post that in a week. So that should be fun. But yeah, I think it was interesting. I'm glad you found it helpful. Demonstrating both frameworks capabilities, building it, which helps solidify the theoretical comparisons. Okay, yeah. So Fatima, it sounds like you already knew some of the theoretics of neural networks. So you're smarter than the average person, Fatima. So you probably knew more than some of the other folks, and that's okay. Again, not knocking anybody, right? But yeah, I'm glad you guys are giving me this feedback because it kind of confirms the feeling that I've been getting in terms of or what I got during the session. But again, that makes it fun for me. That makes it fun for me because I like being spontaneous. I like just saying, hey, all right, cool. We started in this direction. Let's go in another direction, right? I'm totally cool with that. I love doing that. But yeah, okay. Well, but thank you all for that feedback. I really appreciate it. The feedback also helps me, put out the best content I can, which is ultimately my goal. So thank you. All right, so Joseph says the Asheville area of North Carolina is what was affected. Okay, okay. So maybe Greensboro isn't far enough west. Never been to Asheville, but yeah. But Joseph, hope you're well out there. If there's anything we can do, let us know. Do you need a GoFundMe, Joseph? do we need a Joseph GoFundMe sponsored by Data Science of Dennis? Let us know, Joseph. Hope you're doing well. All right, guys. Well, as you know, another reason I like doing the live streams is I like taking all comers. I like taking questions. So if there's any questions out there that I can help you with, please let me know. I never know what you guys are going to come up with, right? Or if you guys want to share where you are in your journey, right? Because I share a lot about my journey, but I also want to hear about your journey. So if you guys want to talk about that, you guys want to talk about neural networks, you want to talk about, your job search. I know job searches can be very frustrating, but you got to stay positive. You got to stay optimistic. You got to do the best job you can, and good things will come, right? You got to prepare yourself with projects. You got to prepare yourself by showing that you are ready to go, right? So many people out there are waiting for a job to come along and say, I am making you a data scientist. Don't be that person. You are already a data scientist. Get out there and start applying what you've learned, right? If you were smart enough to learn about data science or to get through a program, a study program, not like a junky course, but like a serious study program, then, be confident. You should know enough to use those skills and get out there and start applying it. So if you guys need help with that, or you're having a frustration, let me know, right? But stay positive. Everybody's got to stay positive in data science. Joseph says, I wanted to thank you for recommending Mastery. I finished it last week and thought it was a great read. Cool. Very cool. Yeah. Again, for those of you that are new or don't remember, Joseph is referring to Mastery by Robert Greene. It's a book that I recommend quite a bit. It's a book that helped me tremendously. If you're not familiar with Robert Greene, he writes in a very, very interesting way. When people ask me about Mastery, I tell people that it's kind of like a self-help book, but it's also kind of like a history book, and it's also kind of like almost like a psychology book, right? Like it's a combination of all three of those. But it's a book that really helped me reflect and say, hey, what is my life's mastery? Like, what is it that I want to dedicate my life to? Like what is it that excites me, right? What's my passion? That's really what the book, overall stresses, right? What is your passion, and go follow that passion, and then everything you want will come after that, right? So that book made me reflect because, as many of you know, I just wasn't happy doing software engineering. I was pretty good at software engineering. I was leading teams, I was doing consulting. I've been around the block. I've done a lot of software engineering. If you guys want to challenge me in C#, pack a lunch. You're going to have a long day challenging me in C#, right? Like, I'm pretty good. But I wasn't happy. Just wasn't happy. Just didn't like it. And Mastery helped me figure out that data science was the direction to go in. So I recommend it to a lot of people. I actually give that, if you work for me and you're an intern, I gift that book to my interns at the end of their internship. I gift it to my niece who just started college. I gift it to my nephew who was about to finish college. And because it's a book that I wish somebody had given me when I was younger. But yeah, if you guys want to read Mastery by Robert Greene, I really enjoyed it. Looks like Joseph also enjoyed it. But yeah, please go ahead and check out that book. It changed my life. And quite frankly, you right now, with all of my content and all that, are kind of seeing the result of following your passion. Because I think that my content resonates with a lot of you. And I'm able to put out a high level of content because I follow data science with a passion, right? Like, I was pursuing it not for the money, not for the title, not for anything else, but because I was passionate about it. And that brought me everything else, right? That brought me the good jobs, the advancement, the promotions, the Rolex, the Porsche, right? Like, it all comes together. So you're seeing the result of that, right? So that's why I'm a big advocate of that book and following your passions. So Joseph, thanks for bringing that up. I hope, I'm glad you liked it. And Joseph, let me know if it changed your view on mentorships. How do you feel about mentorships after reading that book? Because that's another thing, guys. Robert Greene has a very, very unique view on mentorships that he presents in the book. I don't want to spoil it, but let me know how you feel about it, Joseph. Rahul says, hello. Hey, Rahul, nice to see you. Glad you're here. Hope you're doing well there in the mountains of India, of northern India. Fatima says, I'm still discovering neural networks, so I like this session very much, and I hope there will be more like it. Fatima, do you mean more generally instructional sessions, or sessions specifically about neural networks? Let me know, please. Like, help me clarify there. Help me clarify exactly what you mean by more sessions like it. Because yesterday was also very instructional, right? I could have done the same session on working with Conda in virtual environments, right? Like, we've seen in other sessions that people aren't clear on that, right? So let me know what you mean, Fatima, because I'm really interested in your feedback. Manoj says, yesterday's session was great. I like the way you considered both Keras and PyTorch, and your theoretical explanation was so good. Thank you, Manoj. You know what? Well, you guys know that I've always taken pride in how I explain things in plain English. But if one of the reasons I developed those explanations also, specifically for neural networks, is because it is the question that's most common asked to me by stakeholders. Why? Because it's the most talked about thing in the media, right? Remember how yesterday, and sometimes I'll make that joke about how, most stakeholders, the only technology they know is what they heard on CNBC that morning, right? Like that's their level of knowledge, right? They're not sitting there reading beyond data science. They're just watching CNBC. Well, what gets mentioned on CNBC? They're not talking about regression analysis. They're not talking about clustering techniques, right? They're talking about neural networks. Why? Because it sounds intimidating. It sounds sexy. It sounds powerful, right? Oh, they're using a neural network to solve that problem. It catches headlines, right? So I'm passing that on to all of you, because when you start working with stakeholders, I 100% guarantee you that on multiple occasions, people are going to come to you and say, oh, I heard that Google's using like something called like a neural networks. Like, do you know about that neural networking thing? Like, can you explain that to me? You will 100% get that question multiple times in your career, because it's what they hear about, right? So it behooves all of you to also kind of have those explanations ready to go, because like I said, it's like the most popular question you're going to get from stakeholders, because that's what they hear about in the media, right? So, I've developed it because I've been asked it like hundreds of times, well, not just dozens, but like hundreds of times, right? Casual Economist, our good friend from Minneapolis, says, hey everyone. Hey, Casual Economist, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Let us know how you're doing, Casual Economist. I know you said you were listening in yesterday, so really appreciate that dedication where, maybe you can't watch the video, but you can still, listen to it on your phone or whatever. I was going to say you can still listen to it on your earbuds, but that makes me sound so old, right? I know everybody uses AirPods now. But I gotta tell you guys, I've resisted the change to AirPods. And just so you guys understand, right? In case you're not an Apple person, right? AirPods are the wireless ones that just kind of sit in your ear, and then earbuds are the wired ones, right? So I'm old school. I still use the buds. I still have a wired connection from my ear, to my phone or whatever I'm listening. And you know what? You know why I do that, guys? And let me know in the chat if you feel the same way, right? I am sick and tired of having things in my life that I need to recharge. Like, I have to recharge my phone. I have to recharge my Bluetooth speakers. I have to recharge this. I have to recharge that. I am sick and tired of having to recharge things. Like, am I the only one? Let me know. How do you guys feel about that? But I refuse to go to AirPods because the last thing I need in my life, or an Apple Watch. I gave up my Apple Watch. I've had 2 Apple Watches and I'm done with them. I'm sick and tired of recharging things. I don't want more things in my life that I need to worry about recharging. It's just terrible. Terrible. Rahul says, I'm also a wired person. I tend to lose wire. Yeah, absolutely, Rahul, right? Those AirPods, the AirPods get lost all the time, right? You hear about people losing them, or you lose the case, right? They're useless without the recharging case too, right? But yeah, I hear you, Rahul, right? They fall out, you're going to lose them, whatever. I'm just sick and tired of recharging things. I recharge my phone and that's it. I don't need to charge my watch. I don't need to charge my earbuds. Casual Economist says, I'm the channel's official pocket watcher. You are you're creeping up on... you're both a pocket watcher and my accountant. Casual Economist definitely keeps tabs on my accounting over there. He's over there taking notes. But yes, Casual Economist is right. I'm approaching 30,000 viewers, which is mind-boggling. But like I've told you guys before, I thought 500 users in the first year would be amazing, right? So this totally bypasses my expectations. Craziness. Honestly, if the session focused on neural networks, it would be better. Okay, Fatima. So just to make sure, you would like a low-level neural networks course, like a neural networks basics or neural networks 101 course. So anybody else in the chat, let me know. Let's take a quick vote. Give me a 1 if you think we need a very basics neural networks 101 course. Let me know. Give me a 1 or give me a 0 if you're like, not interested. And I'm going to do this poll later on Instagram. It's a good poll. Lex, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on Twitch. Make sure you click the follow button on Twitch. But I'm glad to have you here, Lex. But give me a 1 if you want a low-level neural networks course, or give me a 0 if you're like, I got it. Give you guys a couple seconds here to vote. All right. So, good interest. Rahul says we do have Dennis team. Thank you so much, Rahul. I appreciate, longtime supporters like you. Thank you so much. All right. So clearly there's a demand. Okay, now. All right, guys, you know that I don't like calling out people, right? But you've made me curious, Yassine. So Yassine, I'm sorry. If you don't feel like answering, that's totally cool, right? But Yassine, I know that you're in a formal training program, right? So I'm a little surprised that you would also vote 1. Help me understand that. Have you just not taken it in your classes? Or you took a class and you don't fully understand it? help me understand that, Yassine, because I know you're in a formal program. I'm assuming you're at a pretty good university. You're a pretty smart guy. So please help me understand that if you don't mind. Okay? Fatima says you can start with the basics and then go deeper so that everyone can benefit. Yeah, it can be a mix. I mean, to do, you know, I talked about this with my mods yesterday in the chat. And I think that to do neural networks properly, it's like a 4 to 5 week session. Right? Like every Sunday for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Like it's not something I could do like in a single session. That's not fair. So yeah, Fatima, it would be like you know, a little bit of intro, a little bit of medium, and just a little bit of hard, right? But yeah, it would go deeper. I mean, I think it's at least 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. I haven't outlined it yet, like I usually like to outline. But yeah, I hear you on that, Fatima. But Fatima, you know, kind of same question to you. You know, I'm assuming you're at a good school. You know, you said you're in your first year, so maybe you just haven't gotten to neural networks yet. But like, doesn't your program already have like something for neural networks? Like, you know, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to pick on you or not that I'm unwilling to do it, but like, are educational programs out there not teaching it? Let me know. I'd be interested in you and Yassine's view on that. Rahul says it would be great. We might see the neural networks through experience perspective. Yeah, sure. I mean, that would be my goal, right? Because I am always giving you guys real world information, right? I'd have to prepare my own slides for that, right? That's like a whole new effort for that. So while we wait for more feedback on the neural networks, that's only if Yassine and Fatima want to give more feedback. They don't have to. Let me go back to Joseph. Joseph here again is talking about Robert Greene. I think Robert changed the way I viewed mentorships. Prior to reading, I valued self-directed mentorships. That is not the case anymore. I loved how he talked about humbling yourself to the process. Also, how it is important one day helping you move in the creative stage. Okay, in the creative active stage. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, the self-directed mentorships, I like your mention of that, yeah. All right, cool. I appreciate that feedback, Joseph. So again, guys, if you're joining us late, Joseph here is talking about Mastery by Robert Greene, a book that I highly recommend. Leo, our good friend Leo's here. Okay, guys, we can start the session. Leo's here. Leo, we were just hanging out until you were here, but you know, we can start now that you're here, Leo. Leo says, hey everyone, a little bit late, but here. Cool, Leo. You know, Leo, a lot of people are giving their feedback on yesterday's session. So if you want to do the same, you know, let us know. I know that you've given me some feedback in our chat. But you know, if you want to share it out with everybody else, you know, let me know. We took a vote on doing like a low level, like 101 intro 101 course to neural networks. It sounds like there's a lot of interest in that. So that might be a series at some point. Who knows? It might be my next series. Leo, please, you can start now. Oh, yes. Thank you for giving us the opening permission, Leo. Yes, we can now start, guys. Okay, guys, Leo said we can start. Let's start now. Sam, our good friend Sam from Bangkok, I think. Sam, hope you're doing well. Hope that the typhoons in Bangkok are treating you okay. Lex, our new friend on Twitch says, I have lots of development experience, but zero in machine learning and AI. Well, Lex, you're in the right place. You're in the right place because I try to give you real world information on how to get there. And I also have a development background. So I hear you. You know, it is possible to make the switch into data science. So you're in the right place. Just keep on coming back, and keep on asking questions, and we'll get you there. So I am interested into this. Yeah. You could do a lot worse than starting with neural networks, but also make sure that you get a good foundation into the entire world of data science under you. Okay. Sam says, thankfully Bangkok is still unaffected so far, but yeah, gotta be alert. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad you're staying safe out there in Bangkok. So guys, I love the different conversations we've been having. And we're talking a little bit about Robert Greene and following your passions and how I made the change. So it reminded me of a point that I've been looking to try to make. And I thought about doing this as an opening note, but it really wouldn't make a good one. So right now is a good time for me to share something out with you. Because, a lot of people have heard my story about following your passions, how I was a software developer, and how I made the change to data science and all of that, right? And I did this change after reading the book, reflecting and all those other things, right? But one of the things that I haven't really talked about is that there was also a little bit of a calculated risk on my part when I made those changes, right? And I wanted to share that with you because I think it kind of speaks a little bit to the history of like, what is data, right? Because at the end of the day, we're data professionals, right? So like, what is that, right? So here's the calculated risk that I made. So I graduated college in 1999. Okay, so some of you probably weren't even born then, right? So I don't want to hear about it in the chat. Don't tell me what year you were born in, right? But I graduated college in 1999, which was basically the beginning of like the .com wave, right? So like email was barely a thing, right? Having an internet connection at home was barely a thing. Social media wasn't a thing yet, right? Like even MySpace wasn't around then. Friendster wasn't around then. It was all just startups and, initial websites getting off the ground. And it was HTML and crappy looking CSS and terrible graphics. Photoshop wasn't quite a thing yet, right? But again, if we're data professionals and we're playing the metagame, right? Because I also emphasize taking a meta view, right? What was the metagame of websites and the internet, and going way back to like the late 90s, early 2000s, when all these startups, all these websites came up, right? What's the metagame there? The metagame is what is known as data-driven applications, right? That was the difference. That's what whether you realize it or not, that's what the internet did for us. The internet let you say, here's some data in a database, here's a website I can display it on, and I can ship it out to the entire world. That's the net win that we're all working with as a result of the internet. Data-driven applications, right? Again, MetaView, right? So it's not about MySpace. It's not about making friends. It's not about sales on Amazon. It's about I have data in a database and I now have a way to display it and ship it out to the world. So fast forward 10 years, right? That's when, that's where I was looking at making the move into data science. And during those 10 years, I was basically a data-driven applications guy, right? I was a database specialist. I was a coding specialist. I could, I did services and APIs and consoles and websites, all that, right? I was taking data from a database, putting it out to the world. So the calculated part of me was not that just hey, I'm really good at probabilities and I really like statistics and I'm still able to code, so data science sounds cool, but hey, wait a minute, where are we going with these data-driven applications? It would make sense that you don't want to just put data out there. You want to put your data out there optimally, right? How do you determine what data to put out there in the most optimal way? Well, isn't that data science? That's data science, right? So that was part of my calculation also, where I could say, okay, well, I've been working with data. I understand it pretty well, but now let me understand it in an optimal way. Like Netflix doesn't just show you all the movies they have. They show you the optimal movies for you that they have, right? Netflix could exist without data science. This wouldn't be very good. And most websites in the early 2000s weren't very good, right? Spam filters sucked in early 2000 if you had an email address back then. So that was the calculated view in my mind, where it's not just about data, it's about optimal data. The delivery, the collection, the manipulation of it, right? Because, you know, putting your data out to the world is a solved problem, right? Website applications are very good right now. But how do you do that in an optimal way? Well, that's the data science side of it. So in many ways, I'm still doing like the whole .com wave and staying within that area. But I'm also trying to say, well, wait a minute, this is where the rest of the world is going for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Because we know how to put data out there, but now how can we do it better? Right? So let me know if that resonates with you. But Mastery by Robert Greene, super influential. I knew I was passionate about data science and the intersection of numbers, statistics, coding, right? Like that totally appealed to me. But there was also some other calculations behind there. Almost like a hedging calculation. Right? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right. Let me look at the chat. Fell behind with the chat. Okay, so Fatima says, for me, I do not have it in the program this year, but I am interested in it. Okay. So you're trying to get ahead of the curve. I can respect that. So Leo says, yeah, I think neural networks is a great subject to talk about. Yesterday, we had a grasp of the level of understanding and what we can explore in more detail during Sunday classes or other weekdays. Okay, cool. Leo was once again apologizing for being late. Rahul over there is keeping schedule. So we got Casual Economist over there taking notes on my accounting, and then we got Rahul over there, you know, taking class attendance over there. So much data collection going on in this stream. Rahul says, I have self-learned the only 2 books by O'Reilly, which were by Aurelian Geron and Wes McKinney. And also for the methodology, I do follow YouTube. Okay, cool. Yassine says, my first year in the program was focused on machine learning and the financial markets. We're just starting the deep learning course this year. I personally did some work on them just to be a little prepared. The reason why I voted was because for the previous series was very beneficial on how it lies the concepts that I've learned to the business, how it applies the concepts I've learned to the business field. I understood how things that I learn are applied in. Okay, cool. Good feedback. Applied in reality, and also much more concepts were added. So I believe at next series we'll do the same and really improve my knowledge. All right, cool. Cool. Okay, Yassine. So it sounds like you're using it as a supplement to what you may already be learning, which is obviously totally fair. So good. Good. Okay. All right, so let me think about this, guys. Let me give it some thought. Because if you remember from last week's streams, I also have this plan to do a series on on a full project end to end, right? I'm going to show you guys how we did the stakeholder talks and the ideation and the scrum planning and the coding and the data collection, excuse me, and so on, right? I was planning to start that series Sunday, this coming Sunday. And I think I may have even made some promises about that because somebody had asked about it in last week's stream. So I could easily push that series back and just do a neural network series, or I'd wait and do the neural network series after that. But the problem with that is that I think that the series of the full project is easily going to take like 8 to 10 weeks, which basically takes us through the end of the year, which means that we wouldn't be doing the neural network stuff until like the beginning of the year of next year. So I don't know if that's appealing to anybody. That may be too long from now, right? So I don't know. What do you guys think? Rahul says collaborative end-to-end project should be priority. We want that first. Yeah? Who agrees with Rahul? Give me some feedback on that. Because really, I think it's going to be a long series. Okay, Yassine agrees with Rahul. Gosh, you guys are going to make me work for that one. Because I have the outline for that series. Whew. I'm going to have to work, you guys. It's going to be a long series. And I'm going to have to look up a bunch of stuff that I've forgotten from all the years. Okay, anybody else want to vote for that? Who wants neural networks first, or who wants the end-to-end project first? Yeah, actually, let me see if I can bring that up. All right, I better show this to you guys so you guys know what you're getting into. How can I bring this? Yeah. Okay, Fatima wants the neural network. Here, guys. So I'm gonna bring this up on my classroom view. So this is what I had written out for the series. So the series is called Do Data Science with Me. The project itself has 4 different stages that you would usually follow. And then each one of these, I think, is an episode, or like a working series, or like a live stream. So like in methodology alone, it would be like 4 episodes, right? And then we would be doing like some agile planning, the programming environment, and then the actual creation, and then the actual deployment of the application, right? Like, it would be a long series, guys. Like, what do you think? Is that coming up clear on your screen? Do you guys need it bigger? but like it's gonna be like an involved series. Like we're gonna have to work for it. Is that better to read? Casual Economist saying project first. Work by Rihanna would be dope on the background. Oh my gosh. I'm not a Rihanna fan. Appreciate the suggestion, but there's going to be no Rihanna on my stream. Thank you. I'm with the Sam says I'm with the majority of the folks. Project first. Fatima neural network. Is Fatima the only vote for neural network? Yeah, I think everybody else wants the project. Okay. Yeah, guys, so it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot to do the project. I am gonna have to work pretty hard to put all that together. But okay. All right, so we'll most likely start the project this week. Satyam, how are you? Good to see you back. So Satyam also wants to do the project. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for the feedback. We'll start it Sunday. We'll start it Sunday, and then we'll have to do the neural networks at the beginning of the year. Yassine says, how much would the neural network series take? Yeah, that's a good question, Yassine. I talked about it with my mods. I really think that's like 4 to 5 sessions. Roughly. To do it right. Because that's not really a coding session. That's more of a theory session. Or it's not a coding fundamentals. It's a theory fundamentals. Right? So yeah, I think it would take a while, like 4 or 5 weeks. That feels about right. I mean, and also I guess it depends on how deep we'd go on it, right? Because 4 to 5 weeks is probably for like a numerical based. Like numerical input based neural network, right? But after that, you can say, okay, now let's do it for image processing. Now let's do it for NLP. Now let's do it for something else, right? And those kind of have like their own little like differences, right? Is it Menon? Namita? I think it's Namita is the first name. So Namita, welcome. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, let me know. Namita from Denver, Colorado. I just started following you. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for introducing yourself. Any questions I can help you with on data science? You're in the right community. Stream every day at 1500 GMT. So really glad to see you here. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So really appreciate that feedback, but I do think we're going to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do the project then. I have learned about neural networks on YouTube only. Yeah, danger, right? Danger with those YouTube tutorials. Because again, a lot of them really haven't worked in the real world, right? They're not giving you the real stuff, right? So just be careful with those guys. Be very careful with those. All right, guys. Well, really appreciate the time that we have spent today. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the feedback from all of you, because it kind of helps guide me on where to go. Because ultimately, I want to serve you guys, in the way that you learn best. So thank you so much for that. And also, we're hoping that Joseph and people in his area are doing well with the storm that we discussed earlier. And I hope that you're doing well in your part of the world. Again, there's so many crazy things happening right now that I'm glad that all of us can come and just talk about data science and, kind of be friends together in that. So thank you so much. Please take care of yourselves and please take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.